A corrugated creation is made from the inside out. But first we need a design that delivers. We want our creation to reflect our customer's business, to be impacting and to be memorable. In this case, for Kapalaba Produce in Queensland, we decided on a 4.5 metre rooster wearing a Cobra cowboy hat. He'll be big, bright, colourful and cheerful. Once the design is finalised, the boys can start to create it. Construction starts with an internal pipe frame. Corrugated iron itself is floppy and needs supporting, which is why there are rafters and a roof. We make our own custom designed rafters out of 25 or 32mm galvanised pipe. Each piece is measured, cut, bent and welded into a supporting skeleton of the final product. By this stage, we also need to have worked out how we're going to transport and install the creation. In this case, the tail and wings will be removable to pack down into a shipping container, and the frame contains a lifting point and 2 internal sleeves, so the entire creation can be lifted up and over the top of 2 120mm pipe foundations. We can then start layering on the corrugated iron. We use new corrugated zinc aluminum, exactly what a roofer would use. Zinc aluminum is a zinc, aluminium and silicone coated steel, and it's got the longest lifespan of any corrugated product. But instead of laying it flat on a roof, we want it to curve in 3 different directions. So it is cut into a lot of pieces, then riveted into shape. That's a lot of pieces and a lot of rivets. We only use a nibbler or tin snips to cut the iron. Once again, these are the same tools a roofer would use. A nibbler is like a high-speed punch, and it cuts without heat, leaving the properties of the iron intact. It can leave a slight burr, so that's removed by hand file. And careful consideration into the design ensures there are no sharp edges or potential harmful points. It is a lot of work. But we really want our creation to still be looking good in 50 years. So we put a lot of effort into making it with the best methods and from the best quality materials. The boys cut and file and drill and rivet and cut and file and drill and rivet it. Each piece has to be securely fastened both to each other and the underlying frame. Some of it is done by pattern, a lot of it is done by eye, and they don't always get it right the first time. It's a bit like a jigsaw with contrasting layers building up an almost 3-dimensional effect. Working out which piece goes where and what direction to give the final effect is the art. Cutting it and filing it and riveting it together is the time. A lot of time. Steve's been turning flat pieces of corrugated iron into creations since he built the Tirau dog eyesight in 1999. He's a mechanic by trade, but it is problem solving and puzzles that interest him. Over the years, customers' requests for creations have given him a wide range of challenging problems. As the designer and general office gopher, I smile sweetly at the customer and say, "Of course we can build that." Usually, our customers want unique, interesting and unusual designs. And that's my job, working out what will best suit their needs and their situation. After they have left, I show the design to Steve, who usually scratches his head as he tries to work out how to get an ape to swing in the breeze, or turn an elephant into a letterbox, or transport New Zealand's biggest pukeko to Otahonga. His experience and engineering skills need to account for fixture points, wind loading, transporting, and how we're going to lift sometimes a very heavy creation into place. He needs to make it safe and secure from what we like to call public attention, and he needs to be able to visualize the finished product while he's still building and designing the internal framework to ensure it's all going to end up looking like it should. One side is finished and it is starting to look like a rooster. We can stand it up, just. With all the internal pipework and iron and rivets, it's pretty heavy. But for the first time we can stand back from it and get a good look at the overall effect. And Steve can finish it off without bending over and killing his back. There has been literally thousands of pieces and feathers cut and riveted to make up this rooster. And even though the second side is a replica of the first, and Steve has worked out how the iron will flow and how the pieces will go together, it is still done by hand and by eye. There are 3 sets of the removable tail feathers. Each is double-sided and it's got hundreds of pieces of iron riveted to form the curves. These will be put into place on insulation and some final finishing feathers will be riveted on top. After 6 weeks of work, construction is finished. It looks like a rooster, and to be honest, we usually prefer our creations at this stage. You see the detail and the workmanship in it, and the texture of the zinc-loom. But our customers want punch and impact, and that means colour. So it is washed, and all the residues and oils removed so painting can begin. Once again, we use the same acrylic roof paints a roofer uses. Once again, choosing those of the very best quality. Most important is a good quality undercoat. Then we layer on colours and shading and effect and outlining, all by hand, to ensure we get a good quality coat of paint over all the surfaces. Finally, it's the moment of truth. We drag him out of the shed and lift him so we can put all his tails and wings into place and see him in his entirety for the first time. Everything goes together as planned, and yes, he is definitely one big, bright, bold and happy rooster. Then he gets packed back down again for shipping. International transport is in a custom designed pipe and iron crate for both my security and his security. He's ready to go.